Jesus opened the eyes of the blind. He gave back to people the gift of sight. Vision is the faculty of sight. It is unusual competence in discernment or perception. That goes beyond looking at a thing. It is looking beyond a thing, looking into a thing, so that you have an unusual competence in the ability to discern what others miss. Webster says that a vision is a mental image produced by the imagination. Ah, it's deeper than that, Mr. Webster. He did the best he could. Vision has at its root, as we said on Xavier's Day, an idea. An idea is a well-developed thought. You know, in the comic books, whenever somebody had a brilliant thought or idea, they would put over the head a light, a bulb. That's it. Light got turned on in the guy's head. He saw something. He had an idea. But he really didn't have an idea. He had a thought. Because ideas are different from thoughts. Ideas, like thoughts, exist in the mind, potentially or actually as a product of mental activity. You can't have an idea or thought if your mind is not active. Brain waves on a machine that scans the activity of your mind, of your brain, shows an electrical energy in the brain that says this is alive. Electrical energy in the brain allows the brain to do what the brain is designed to do. Create thought, create image, create pictures. Listen, once you have a thought, that is a concept. When you say, sister has conceived, what do you mean? Sister has conceived. What do you mean? She's pregnant, right? Conception is not baby. The conception has all the necessary ingredients to make the baby. But now it needs a period of gestation and growth in the darkness of the womb so that conception becomes a fully developed child, baby, fetus. When thought germinates in the mind, if you don't continue to think on the thought, now I want you to hear me. If you don't continue to think on the thought, then the thought without more thought only is a thought that comes and goes. And you will say when somebody else comes up with the thought, but thinks on the thought, they stole my idea. They stole my stuff. They making the money and I ain't got none. Dirty, low-down thief. Wait a minute, fool. You don't have any corner on thought. You don't have any specific corner on imagery. Many of you have good thoughts, but you do nothing about what you think. So the thought was an opportunity that you blew because you didn't do by the thought what you should have done. You got to think on the thought. You have to think on the thought. And thinking on the thought is feeding the thought. Then the thought develops into an idea. And that idea has with it a plan, a scheme, a method of fulfilling and concretizing what was a mental image that had potential, but now you want to actualize what you have envisioned. But if you even develop the idea or the thought into an idea and still will not work the idea, then God will give the idea to somebody else who will fulfill the idea and fulfill the vision brought by the idea. After the thought brings up a concept you've conceived, most people talk the thought, and the thought gets lost. It's like showing the baby before the baby is a baby. Who wants to see a clot but an abortionist? And most times we get a thought, we speak it before we think on the thought. Get it developed. And it must develop in darkness, like the womb of the female, the womb of the mind. Develop your ideas. Then develop the method, the plan of execution. The idea will bring up a picture of the completed thing. The picture is in your brain. You can draw it on a piece of paper so that you can keep the vision before your eyes. But putting it on paper isn't actualizing the vision. The vision is only actualized when you bring it into concrete reality. How do you bring it into concrete reality? First, without faith, you can't work the vision. Even if you see it, you gotta now believe that you can bring it. Believe. Not only believe in God, but believe in yourself. Believe that you can do what you envision that must be done. But believe.
Greetings, listeners. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God. Welcome to the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am Brother David Muhammad, and I'm going to be in studio with you up to 9 o'clock this morning, inshallah. And in a short while from now, I will open up the telephone lines and take your calls on 3420081 and 4665391. You can also send text messages and WhatsApp messages directly to me on 332-0214. And we're on YouTube and the Facebook page of the Street 919 FM. So, my beloved people, what a week we had. And let me start off by telling you, next weekend is a very, 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 very special weekend. As first of all, we are hosting our 11th African Expo, number 11. And this is, it's actually the 5th year, because of course the first one was in November 2018, about 6 months after we opened the Kwame Ture Center. So we had one in 2018, we had about 3 in 2019, we had about 3 in 2020, about 3 last year. Look, this is the 11th one, all right? And the November ones, of course, the November was a kickoff one, and we also always have one around February, well, around this time, usually for many of our visitors coming into the country. So we're looking forward to a very special African Expo number 11 next week, Saturday. And for details, for information on it, for persons who would still like to get booths or tables, we're using the 332-0214 number to do all arrangements with that, okay? So we suggest that you WhatsApp. Now, for the last, out of 10 African Expos that we've had so far, of course, by now, there would be a core group of businesses and merchants and vendors who have been with us for at least, I'd say, 6 or 7 or 8 of the expos. Maybe 1 or 2 would have been there for the entire 9 or 10. But there still are some spaces available, and you can contact by WhatsApp messages 332-0214. You can try calling the number if you want, but it's unlikely that it would be answered reliably. But we do have the WhatsApp messages forwarded for our immediate attention, all right? That's 332-0214. And then the day after that, beloved, the next day, next week, Sunday, February 27th, 2022, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be speaking to the world. Minister Farrakhan will be speaking to the world, and word from our headquarters is that this is likely to be his last public speech. Okay? It's likely to be his last public speech. So it's next week Sunday. It starts at 3 o'clock. Now, of course, we will be hosting a showing of it at the Kwame Ture Center. However, it is also, of course, live on the website of the Nation of Islam, www.noi.org, and it's also being shown on Gael TV, which is shown live in like almost 20 Caribbean territories. In fact, almost everywhere except Guyana for now, and that is being worked on. So, starting at 3 o'clock next week, Sunday, it will be 1 o'clock Chicago time. It's coming live out of Chicago, and all over the world, numerous television stations and radio stations all across the United States, Canada, Central and South America, the Caribbean, in England, France, Germany, all across Africa. It's being interpreted in so many different languages. Anywhere where black people are, that message is being either broadcasted or webcasted or live streamed. So you can look out for it on Gael TV, which of course is channel 107, next week Sunday from 3 o'clock. And of course, my program, my weekly program on Gael TV comes on Sundays at 8. So I'll be on like a couple hours after. And needless to say, we'll be recapping some of the main points. So it's something, it's an incredible occasion. And of course, it's the annual Savior's Day Convention, which was held virtually for the last 2 years. So there we go. African Expo next week, Saturday. And then the speech to the world by Minister Louis Farrakhan next week, Sunday. Of course, the African Expo is throughout the day. Doors are open at 10 a.m. and we're looking to close off by 6, although that normally doesn't quite work out that way. But we really want to finish by 6 this time. I mean, I think for some of them, we've gone up to 8, 9 o'clock, and I mean, the vibe is just so positive. The love, the black on black love. I saw a clip of a brother saying in America, you know, black on black love is like a crime. They treat it like a crime. If you are African and you openly and publicly and proudly and unapologetically declare your love for African people, it is treated as if you have done something wrong. Meanwhile, among other ethnic groups, if you don't love each other, it is an absurdity. It's highly unusual for other ethnic groups. If they don't support each other, it would be strange, it would be awkward, it would be weird. It will be highly unusual. It will be shunned by their communities. But in our African community, when we love each other, we're either racist or dividing the country or causing tensions, spreading unrest. It's ridiculous. But of course, we know why it was that way. And let me get into one of the first things that I want to mention here that's been on my mind all week. We have quite a bit to talk about, by the way. So, the month of February in the United States of America and many other places in the African diaspora is Black History Month. And of course, in Trinidad and Tobago, we celebrate November as Black History Month. And we welcome it. We have a month long of activities, and we bring in the youth. We have the presentations, the knowledge, the teachings, the different programs and seminars at the Kwame Ture Center, hosted by the Black Agenda Project. Right, we welcome Black History Month. And even for February, we always deal with the Black History, but there is a key point that I want us to understand. Based on the catastrophic crimes against humanity that have been committed against African people, that have featured perpetual genocide over a period of 300 plus years, The kind of reversal of that process, or the mending and repairing of the damage that was done psychologically, mentally, spiritually, sociologically, the crushing of the foundation of our families, the destroying of the will to want to do for self, the onslaught against our culture, our heritage, our history, based on all that has happened to African people. The subject of black history now takes a precedent that is so enormous that it puzzles us in this day and time that we're still having conversations about whether or not black history should be taught in schools. That is an outrageous question, because by the fact that you're teaching any history in school is subordinate to the need for the teaching of African history in the schools. And this is the key point that I want to make. You will not have a mathematics month. You will not have a language or grammar or spelling or vocabulary month. Or you will not have a science month, where in the school system you exclude the teaching of mathematics or language or social studies or science or art for 11 months and then condense it all into 1 month. That will never happen. Because we already know and understand that mathematics is so important that it must be taught every single day of the year, every single week in the term or the semester. It must be taught all the time. And mathematics is so important as well that even when the school is on holiday, you still have to teach and learn and practice it. Same thing with language and the sciences. So to take a month for black history, as if to say we're going to teach black history for this month, and then for the 11 other months it would not take the kind of precedence that it took for this particular month, is outrageous. The kind of repair that we have to do to what was done to us, that onslaught, that genocide, that dehumanization, that destruction of the African family and the social community, the fact that we were burnt, tortured, lynched, dehumanized, raped, mass murdered, packed in under slave ships. And we went through that for hundreds of years. But yet still at the same time, the history of Africa tells us that the first schools were built in Africa, the first libraries were built in Africa, the first colleges and universities were built in Africa, the first towns, cities, villages, civilizations and cultures were all in Africa. And Africa gave science, mathematics, art, music, history and philosophy to the whole world. And here now we come through slavery, and they're teaching us about slavery in the educational curriculum, but they're excluding that entire legacy, heritage, and history of the magnificence of African people. And then you come in to tell us we're going to give you a month to learn it? Ha! No way, beloved. When you start talking about a month for mathematics, that we're going to do mathematics only in the month of March or only in the month of September, as ridiculous as that sounds, because you know how important mathematics is, it is just as ridiculous to put aside only 1 month for black history. You're talking about something that needs to be taught every day. Once you have a calendar date of a school term, it must be on the school curriculum. But we're still talking about whether it should be in schools at all. That is crazy. It's crazy, beloved. Trust me on that. So, cool. Black History Month, February. Fine. Yes. We celebrate it. But we teach just as much black history in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and January as we do in the so-called Black History Month of February. It has to be constant and not just Black history, but black studies in general. Of course, as always, for the African Expos, we have special discounts on the books, Black Studies, Knowledge is Power, and Black Youth at Risk, from juvenile delinquency to criminal gang activity. And you know what? This kind of brings us into the second main theme, but I don't want to cover it all in the first hour. I want to go into our phone calls. We want to open up the lines a bit. And maybe we could continue on this topic for the second hour, but I'm talking about this bail for murder. Now, tricky subject, no doubt. Tricky subject. But bail for murder or no bail for murder, the system has to be fixed. There's no justice for the accused. There's no justice for the poor black people on trial within the system, especially on remand. There's no justice in there. You could take the most senior legal luminaries or the most senior persons occupying positions of authority in all of the courts, from the Chief Justice, DPP, Attorney General, to the High Court judges, Magistrates Court judges, the Privy Council people. You sit them down in a one-on-one conversation with any of them, and I'm putting it to you that not one of them would be able to testify that there is justice in this system. There's none. So I understand a lot of people are terrified about persons who may have committed murder, who are on bail, walking the streets. Okay, I understand how you feel about that. But let me say this to you. The real dangerous individuals who are behind murders are going to have their influence on the street anyway. And one huge misconception that this country has never come to terms with from years ago. Lord, we've had this discussion more than 20 years ago. Listen. And to those who know, they know. But, beloved, you have a quote-unquote notorious gang leader, and he's in jail. And you think to yourself, oh, right, he's finally out of the way. Or a so-called gang leader is out in the community on the streets, and he's killed. And there's this view that, oh, finally he's gone. The place is going to be more peaceful. Well, it may appear that way sometimes on the surface, and sometimes it actually might be that way. But I'm putting it to you that we have had many cases in Trinidad, and there's one particular case. I don't want to name anyone individually, but I will name in this instance, for all intents and purposes of this conversation, I will make reference to deceased Mark Guerra. Now, we have all these newspaper clippings from the late 1990s and early 2000s, when there was considered to be a notorious gang war taking place in Port of Spain. And when Mark Guerra was killed, those who don't understand how the community works in those kinds of situations felt to themselves, okay, so he is gone. The place is going to become a whole lot more peaceful now. Wrong. It does not work like that. Because you have someone who's influential in the community, who may be considered to be a gang leader to the wider society. When they go, many times it's only then and there that the public realizes that they were keeping the peace. In many instances, yes, being somewhat participatory in breaking the peace, but many times the restraint that is placed on some of those young men. You see, y'all don't realize how rotten, corrupt, dirty, and dysfunctional our system of politics is. It has the masses of the people living like crabs in a barrel in the ghetto. And the system starves the masses to the degree where we are locked, confined, and contained within these residential spaces, stricken by poverty, and then we end up at each other's throats, exercising self-destruction. And then the politician comes in, gives some crumbs to one or two to represent them to the other poor people in the same community. It's a wicked system. But I'm putting it to you that sometimes when someone who is considered to be a gang leader dies or is killed, there are like sometimes 5 or 6 or 7 crazier ones coming up who are ruthless, no guidance, they ain't thinking about no kind of consciousness. And they will kill you quicker, trust me. They will say, to hell with this and to hell with that. Some of those hot-headed young ones who just want to prove a point. Yeah, many times, sometimes, when you have a gang leader, they keep those ones in check. Have them exercising restraint. And while our high and mighty, lofty head in the clouds, ignorant, people-hating politicians make statements like they're not going to negotiate with gangsters and they're not going to negotiate with criminals, it's the same person that you're calling a criminal or a gangster who is providing food and opportunities and jobs for those young ones that you dirty politicians will turn your back on and ignore them for. So while you are robbing, stealing, and pillaging the national treasury, they're doing the same thing, but on the street level, picking pockets, snatching chains, and taking wallets. But you who are stealing on the top level, you stealing a whole millions out of the treasury. But you're saying you're too high and mighty to meet with or to give opportunities to the brother who's stealing a gold chain or a sneakers or some money. Shame on you. Shame on you. But the thing is, and one of the reasons, and it's so obvious, listen, we had 2 major crime problems. We had 2 major crime problems in this country in the first decade of this millennium and century. And those 2 main crime problems were a rapid increase in murder and a rapid increase in kidnapping. But you see, the main difference between the two is the victims of kidnapping are rich, but the victims of murder are poor. So all the governments that we've had over the last 22 years have placed maximum resources on solving the problem of kidnapping, but totally ignored murder. because the victims of kidnapping are mainly wealthy or well-off non-Africans, but the victims of murder are mainly poor Africans. And all of the governments that we have ever had have always made it a priority to see about the non-Africans who are rich over the Africans who are poor. Tell me I'm lying. Try to argue with this. Yes, I know you don't like what I'm saying. I know that. But call me a liar. So, look at the statistics. Look at the murder statistics. From 2002, go up. It was like 100 and something, then 200 and something, then 300 and something, then 400 and something, then 500 and something. It peaked at 550 in 2008, then it went down to 509 in 2009. Those were the only 2 years that it crossed 500 up to that time. Then it dipped a bit to 400 and something, then again 400 and something. It dipped to 300 and something, and then 400 and something, 400 and something, and then up to just the other day, 2018 and 2019, for the first time ever since those 2 years, 2008, 2009, it went back up to 500 and something, then again 500 and something. And then with the pandemic coming in 2020, it was 400 and something, just under 500. So the murder rate right now is, and we had one of the highest months ever just recently. So murder stays up. But I want you, on your own time, to do some basic research. Maybe I'll pull it up in the next hour, but I'll try and go through that. Put the kidnapping statistics right next to the murder statistics, and you will see something. It doesn't take a statistician or a sociologist or a criminologist to figure out the patterns. It is one of the most alarming things, and I know I've spoken about it before on the Black Agenda. You know what? Let me see if I can find this. But as I'm making the point that the victims of kidnapping are wealthy non-Africans, but the victims of murder are poor Africans, and all the attention has been to solving kidnapping, but not solving murder. I don't know for sure, but I believe that kidnapping is the only crime in this country. I believe it is the only crime in this country that our protective services, our governments, our ministries of national security have worked so hard to fight that it actually got down to zero. Let that marinate on your brain for just a little bit, Now, you think about it. Murders have skyrocketed from 2002, come up. They've been going up and up and up and up and up. Slight dips in between, but they're staying up, staying high. But listen, there's no other crime that I could think of that a whole year could pass and hasn't been committed once. Not murder, not drug offenses or larceny, theft, fraud, manslaughter, whatever the crime is. Kidnapping has been given maximum resources to fight against. Maximum resources. And they actually got it down to zero. Why? Because it's happening to Syrians, some local whites, Chinese, and wealthy East Indians. Every now and then they might kidnap an African, but not like kidnap for ransom in the same way. Some of the bacchanal, some of the issue. But African people aren't really the victims of that kind of kidnapping. But when it comes to murder, it's poor, black people. So the murder continues. But the kidnappings. Now, let me show you something here. According to the statistics from the TTPS, we're looking at 3 years, 2007, 2008, 2009. We're in the middle of that. I want you to think so carefully on this theory. Now, 2008, this country peaked at 550 murders. In 2007, murder rate was in the high 300s, and then it took the jump. But check this out. You see that year, just before the highest murder rate, we had the highest kidnappings. There was 155. That is almost 3 people getting kidnapped every week. Think on that. Think of how much the governments just love white people. Just love the Syrians. Make sure that they're taken care of. Make sure that they're rich, that they're wealthy, that they're given all the contracts and the opportunities. You just think on that. And here you have a crime that is being committed against the upper social classes on average 3 times every week. 155 kidnappings in 2007. The government would have been at their wits' end with that. But look what happened. It went from 155 kidnappings in 2007 down to 11 kidnappings in 2008, down to 6 in 2009, down to 4 in 2010, down to 2 in 2011. And then 2016 had 0. But, beloved, that same year, 2007, where there were 155 kidnappings, all of them, either Syrians, whites, Chinese, or Indians, no Africans being kidnapped like that. So it went from 155 down to 11. But the same year that the kidnapping rate went from 155 down to 11, the murder rate went up from 300 and something to 550. Why do you think that is? I can bring to the witness stand certain brothers from back then, all around the days of Mark Guerra and Sean Francis. We can bring forth some witnesses who will testify. Even your own Minister of National Security in 2005 openly admitted that a group of prominent businessmen came to him with a list of persons who they felt should be killed as a solution to crime. I am putting it to you that that list was executed. This was October 2005. September 2006, there was the peace treaty. And one by one, all of those gang leaders were killed, many of them by the police, so that the kidnapping problem could be solved. And kidnappings went from 155 down to 11, eventually 0, while murders are still in the 400s and 500s. Think, people.
views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
You see, when I come to party, I don't want to hear about nobody business, boy. Security, put the mark on them, out the party, put the mark on them. Put the mark on them, out the party. I ain't come for that. Talking about people business instead. I ain't come for that. Boy, move from here with your bad breath. I ain't come for that. Talking about people business in dance. I ain't come for that. Boy, move from here, give me a chance. Me and my little pussy, come here to bust a line. You come talking up in my ass, talking real all the time. Nobody want you around, yet your name on the list. Everybody in town know you for talking people business. You know all who hoarding and all who broken. You know all who ugly. How much lumps they're buying. That girl head picky is a wig she wearing. Still sitting up in the ass, boy. I can't take the gossiping. I ain't come for that. Talking about people business instead. I ain't come for that. Boy, move from here with your bad breath. I ain't come for that. Talking about people inside the dance. I ain't come for that. Move from here and give me a chance. Security, put the mark on them, out the party, put the mark on them. Put the mark on them, out the party, put the mark on them. Put the mark on them, out the party, put the mark on them. I can't take them, I can't take them, I can't stand them. Big artists on stage, mashing up the party. You come telling me that the artists are wanna force boozy. If you look around, it is plain to see. Everybody inside the sweat, don't know that already, but we ain't come for that. Talking about people business instead, I ain't come for that. Move from here, boy, with your bad breath, I ain't come for that. Talking about people business in time, I ain't come for that. Move from here and give me a chance. I come to take a little job, take a little job, take a little way. Not to some people business, not to some people business. I come to take a little jump up, take a little jump up, take a little way. Not to some people business. Oh, I ain't come for that. Talking about people business instead. I ain't come for that. Move from here, boy, with your bad breath. I ain't come for that. Talking about people inside the dance. I ain't come for that. Move from here and give me a chance. Put the mark on them, out the party, put the mark on them. Put the mark on them, out the party, put the mark on them. Put the mark on them, out the party, put the mark on them.
Looking for a safe and relaxed professional massage therapist and nutritionist? Look no further. Nature's Touch with Empress Judy and Associates offers a natural approach to better health. Treat yourself to a professional massage therapy and nutrition advice in a safe and relaxed atmosphere. Rejuvenate your body, mind, and soul at Nature's Touch Therapy. For an appointment, please call or WhatsApp 1-868-398-8282 or visit our Facebook page. Remember, your health is our responsibility at Nature's Touch.
The craftsmanship of our mass through color and creativity come alive at the preliminary round of the First Citizens Senior Kings and Queens competition. The magic happens on the big stage, Carnival City, Queens Park, Savannah, on Tuesday, 22nd February from 7 p.m. Which creations will move forward to vie for a chance at the coveted titles King and Queen of a Taste of Carnival? Judge for yourselves. Be there with your crew on Tuesday, 22nd February from 7 p.m. Visit TNTCarnivalWorld.com, the NCC Facebook page, or call 622-1718 for tickets and entry details. The First Citizens, Senior Kings and Queens of Carnival 2022 is presented by the TTCBA in collaboration with the NCC and supported by Digicel.
Season 22. Defend we culture.
Drop your keys and bow your knees, for I am the notorious midnight robber.
February 22nd to 28th.
I am here to defend my culture.
Season 22.
I am here to introduce you to season 22.
Defend we music.
We have soca, we have pie, we have calypso, we even have the doubles man.
At Sound Forge, culture lives on.
To make sure my culture live and not just survive.
Season 22, February 22nd to 28th at Sound
The
Forward.
spirit must live on.
Carnival, come back.
Me say you wake up in the morning and you just realize Carnival come back again.
Alright, maybe that isn't 100% true, but hear this. TSB and T-Dot Sided alongside Iwer George presents Carnival Comeback. Take bamboo, gal. Take bamboo, riding, gal. Carnival Monday, the good again.
This is Iwer George, the big boss of the business. Carnival Monday, the 28th, 3 p.m. Queen's Park Savannah. Carnival come back.
3 p.m. Carnival Monday, Queen's Park Savannah. People, young brother, I'm gonna be there live and live DJ to be coming to shake it properly. People, you need vaccination on entry.
Come out in your Monday wear. Come out with your team from 3 p.m. till. Get your female tickets started at $220 and male tickets at $250 with food inclusive. Get those tickets online at suntix.com. Also, book your cabanas. $2,000 for groups of 9 with coolers and food inclusive. All this happening at the Queen's Park Savannah. Carnival, come back.
Better vision for your physical eyes, and through the eyes of faith, let healing arise in your mind, body, and spirit. At Natural Healing Ministries, we teach kingdom principles for living that brings the blessing of God to your mind, body, and soul.
NHM Professional Associates are located at number 10 Moody Stewart Street, Monterey Post, San Fernando. For more info, contact Dr. Desmond Phillip at NHM on 349-3494.
NHM Professional Associates can be heard live on the Street 919 FM every Saturday from 9:05 to 9:55 a.m.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM radio. Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
There's a new taste in town. Maracas Bake and Shark at 79 Robert Street in Woodbrook brings you bake and shark, kingfish, fries, shrimp, aloo pies, and delectable sauces to tease your taste buds. Walk in, order with food drop, or get parking lot pickup at 488 Bake or 75 Shark. Need catering? No problem. Call or email tastemaracas@gmail.com. Follow Taste Maracas on social media for all the delicious details. Taste Maracas, the new taste in town. Corner of Roberts and Rosalino Streets. See you soon.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iwer George on Instagram. Share the live. Iwer TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory.
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
So there's a need for brotherhood.
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
Brotherhood is demanded.
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Brotherhood is essential, it is urgent, and it is compulsory. brotherhood. Whenever the dominant white society fears for its economic future, racial tensions are always aggravated. The aim of Almighty God is to bring the black man and woman together. The aim of Almighty God is that we, no matter how divided we have been in the past, must experience unity in order to gain the success that we seek and the progress that we desire. There is no way that a divided people can build a future. Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. So there's a need for brotherhood. But if you walk the earth proud and arrogant, you never learn your lesson because you think you already know. And how the hell could you know and be in the shape that we're in? How can there be any brotherhood if there's not even the honoring of a word?
Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen. Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen. Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
But the Quran and the Bible bear witness that the heavens and the earth were created with truth.
Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Brotherhood is essential. It is urgent and it is compulsory. I feel that every man that wants to speak should have the right. And if you think you know it better, get on up and get on and do the job. But if you don't know what to do, and all your mouth is able to do is condemn and criticize, but you have no works to show the rightness of your philosophical adherence, then maybe you should rethink your position.
All right, welcome back and welcome to the second hour of the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am Brother David Muhammad. We're going up to 9 o'clock and we shall begin taking your calls on 342-0081 and 466-5391. Let me remind you again, next weekend is a very, very, very special weekend. Next week, Saturday, we're hosting our 11th African Expo. Number 11, Saturday, February 26th at the Kwame Ture Center from 10 a.m. all the way through to 6 p.m. The family is invited, of course, all restrictions in place, hand sanitizing, mask wearing, social distancing, etc. In fact, out of the 10 that we've had already, I think at least half of them were during the pandemic. So, looking forward to seeing you next week. And then on Sunday, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be speaking to the world Sunday, February 27th. And it's going to be on Gael TV. We'll be hosting a showing at the Kwame Ture Center, of course, but it will be live on Gael TV from 3 p.m. and also on the Nation of Islam website, www.noi.org. All right, so just before we went to the break, I was showing you that pattern, that trend with our kidnappings and murders. While the murder rate has stayed high and has gotten even higher, the kidnapping rate has gone right down. Single digits, 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. Down from 155, even down to 0 in 2016. But murders have gone right up because you have two completely different demographic profiles of victims of kidnapping and victims of murder. All right. So let's go to the phone lines, 342-0081 and 466-5391. Caller, good morning.
Good morning to you, dear doctor and philosopher.
Good morning, sir.
Dr. Mohammed, I'm feeling pleased that I'm still a student of your work and the entire movement. I'll tell you why. In the early, you taught us about critical thinking, think tank, skills bank. And when you read in the microphone and you touch in the editorial, bail for kidnapping, doctor, I want you to go to the head of the class, stay there and don't move. I'll tell you what. From the time I heard it, I said conspiracy abound. I said espionage, high treason. I'll tell you what. And I remember in the early while you were teaching us about critical thinking. To me, all is not well with that. And I firmly believe, respectively, that the system has something up their sleeve to put these men out because, you know, the death penalty, there is a problem. Let's murder them. Now, come on, people, think quickly. Doctor, it reminds me that because if you really want to know what's happening in this society, you've got to make the word system a study. And in understanding that, then we will understand all is not well. I am not sitting to the edge of my feet and I'm not buying it. You see, I'll tell you, that is why I always use the term the revolving door concept. You see, the politicians might curse up each other for the public and that narrative. But behind closed doors, you don't know who's talking. And I want to tell you, doctor, this morning as I speak in your microphone, you're coming with heavy stuff this morning. And Tabakit love it. Why? It is things to interfere with the chemistry reaction and tell you, hey, black man, wake up, open your door. Dr. Mohammed is on radio. Wake up the children. Let them hear. The system is against them. And brother, I was going elsewhere, but I had to touch on it. I sit down, doctor, and I thinking, I said, but why you would want to give bail all of a sudden? It is clear as crystal water. Just now they wouldn't be able to hang. You know what? It's a good avenue. They are ready on death row. We put them out there. If you kill them, look, and we could always page it. Somebody has killed them. But let me move on because as I tell you, I want other callers. Heavy stuff. Doctor, permit me to go back into last week.
Yeah.
You remember last week I called your program and I told you the pandemic is over and I told you Europe is America, America is Europe.
And from that time to now, I think a few countries, in Europe have dropped all restrictions.
Well, doctor, permit me this morning again. Last week, Sunday, the WHO, the Spanish guy who is to the top, and I'm quoting him because our local express carried it. It was up and down on social media all over the place. And he is saying, I'm quoting him, by mid-year, the pandemic should leave us. And doctor, I spoke in your microphone last week, Saturday, and I told the people they would have achieved their agenda. It's time. And Doctor, I don't want to stay long. I want to be respectful for other callers. But all I want to say to my African brothers, wake up! Wake up! The system is against you. Doctor, permit me to put in one more, please, as I hear. Something happened this week, and I am disturbed. Not angry with the people who got it, but I need to say, you have been running that Kwame institution there. The funding you have been getting is your group and yourself raising funds. Just about an acre and a half. But I'm saying down in Central, no hard feeling, but I got to say it because it's public news. Nutromix would have opened the hatchery and it's more than 20 acres. And then if that wasn't insult to injury, by Thursday, the Minister of Agriculture, Clarence Rambarat, is now saying, PriceSmart, over 50 acres of land by one of the mills they're going to get. Now you tell me, the Kwame Tori institution is a model. Dr. Riley said when he came in, he wants African history to be taught in school. And I'm saying, since Dr. Muhammad and the institution have a catalyst, the brother wrote several books. Why not call him in and say, you know what? We have 41 constituencies. Caroni is the largest holder of land. We will now give you an acre and a half in every constituency. Look, you go ahead. We will put the syllabus somewhere along the line. But you tell me, and this thing burning me, because anybody supposed to get reparation for Caroni land is the Africans who cut down the first set of forests.
That's right.
And I'm saying, doctor, as I take my leave, when I saw that, I say, listen, Dr. Rowley African, Fitzgerald African, Camille African. But yet still, all the other races, 60, 70 acres. I say, my brother, that is a heavy, heavy pill to swallow. Tabakit cannot swallow it. Tabakit out and out.
Thank you. Three 342-0081 and 466-5391. Oops. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, David Mohammed. How are you?
I am great, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine. I just I didn't call for a little while. I'm doing some work on the outside, you know.
All right.
But I like the program this morning and all the other mornings, you know, Saturday. I want to listen to the broadcast next week Sunday with Mr. Louis Farrakhan.
Yes.
Yeah, you know. What I want to say this morning is something is growing in Trinidad for the longest while. I don't know. I think last year we speak about we had a little speak about when Mr. Robinson was Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yep.
I mentioned that back then, you know, trade men, when Trinidad and Tobago reached to the point where the Prime Minister back then, Mr. Robinson, he went to the IMF and he had was to devalue our money and all that, and a lot of people was losing their jobs and retrenchment and all that, where trade men, professional trade men was working for like $50 a day, $70 a day, when trade men back then was working for $300 a day. And it was real suffering in the land. But what I'm saying, that suffering, to compare to now, it have a slight kind of resemblance to what happened back then to now, because I'm going to show you something what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. It's in a different disguise. Trinidad and Tobago, let me say about the past 2.5 years, 3 years, going in 3 years, let me say 3 years, Venezuelans been allowed to work in Trinidad and Tobago for only one purpose, that Trinidadians who was working for X amount of money a day, you understand, they will replace the Trinidadians and take the Venezuelans because they work for less money. I can tell you that because I'm into construction. And these days, I can tell you I have friends who work with companies who get jobs from people. Those jobs will cost $25,000, or maybe a job might cost $30,000 or $20,000. These people are telling you, or telling the contractor or the mason, look, to put up that piece of fence wall there, he might say $12,000. And the owner of the place will say, no, we're not paying all that money because we can get Venezuelan to do it for $6,000. Now, listen to this. Last year, I think it was last year, like the Prime Minister stand up on a platform right before, that was before where the boat sunk in Venezuelan waters and over 20-something people was drowned and they blamed Trinidad for it and etc. etc. Now, what happened then? The Prime Minister stand up on a platform and said he thanked the Venezuelans for helping to build the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. Now listen to that, African people being here for hundreds of years, you know. We cut down the forests, we cultivate the plantation, we build the roads, we do everything. We, African people, I never heard any Prime Minister thank the African people for cultivating Trinidad and Tobago plantation, the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, we build the buildings and everything. No Prime Minister never thanked African people for that in Trinidad and Tobago. But the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, last year I believe, thanked the Venezuelans for helping to build the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. You only here for almost 3 years, eh? Now, you know why I'm speaking about this? Now, when you go to look for a job as an African person or an East Indian person and you're a Trinidadian, and the first thing they're asking you is, how much money are you willing to work for? And you say, well, okay, I'm working for this amount of money. How much you will pay? Not normal minimum wage. Say, no, we not pay that. We pay this because Venezuelans. Just recently, a contractor is telling me he getting Venezuelan to work. Tradesmen, mason, carpenters for $250 a day to $200 a day. When a Trinidadian trade person into construction, mason, carpentry, steel bending, painting will work between $400 a day to $450 to $500 a day. That is the normal wages for a tradesman in Trinidad and Tobago. Now you have Venezuelan working for $200 a day. You understand? And in some cases, they might be working for $250 a day. You understand? So, when you watch it very carefully, back then with Robinson, and now, it's almost compared to the same thing. That is what I want to say this morning. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Thank you. Caller, good morning.
Yeah, Mr. Good morning. You better market.
Yes, good morning.
I want to talk about two topics very fast. Something international and local. I want to speak about the bail of murderers. And we cannot be ignorant and just running to talk with mouth because we want to talk and we want to be on the radio and we want to make a point. When I hear the Chief Justice make a statement like that, I sit down.
Which statement are you talking about?
That murderers will be getting bail.
Well, wait. It's not murderers who are getting bail. It's persons who are charged or accused of murder. Because many people in this country are charged for murder and are not murderers, if you understand.
But Mohammed, wait, you hold on.
I'm making it clear. No, I'm just making it clear.
No, you play with my mouth. And I like how you correct it by saying the right way. But you didn't correct tabically. Because I come in there.
But he didn't say that.
No, wait.
All right, go ahead. You go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm coming there. Speak, and you're going to understand now. And I hear the public up on a raw. How could the Lago murderers or people who charge on murderers. But I'm not coming to your point. People who charge on murderers. I said to myself, it's a very good move by the Chief Justice.
Right.
Because I know there's many people sit down in the jail,
innocent people, right?
15,
Thank you, Kingsley.
15 and 14 years, sit down in jail, innocent.
Well, you know it.
Where the police frame, and get them with a case.
Thank you.
But Mohammed, the police in this country, just hold you and then go and look for evidence. They do not gather evidence and then charge you.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, most of the time.
Most of the time.
Okay, for me, because
you go ahead.
Why is all this case arguing them when they are on the court? The police ain't bring this yet. They ain't bring this evidence. They have to go look for the gun. They have to go look for this. That they're going to do all kind of thing. And what I observe in this country, I might be wrong. The police do not investigate. They just hold you and then go and investigate. Then go and look for things in the armor. They don't do proper investigation. What I observe and take it to the court.
Yeah.
So time now, every time the person come to court, the court have to adjourn because the police and the prosecution don't have enough evidence. They don't have this, and that is factual, Brother Mohammed.
Yes.
That is factual. I'm speaking about here.
Yeah, you're right.
That is why Hello?
No, I said you are right. Go ahead.
Yes, and that is why I'm not being ignorant to this thing. And I am saying this. Once you find proper evidence, facts, and somebody charged for murder, that person must never get bail. But there's people sit down where I know that are people innocently and they sit down in jail for murder because they was get a frame case.
Yeah.
You know, in this look, just the other day, a so-called colorful person in my community was locked up for 6 months with a gun he never have. You know. The police put, well, he might be, okay. But Mohammed, I just said, if you catch somebody with a gun, you have to tell them as a police officer, freeze, put down the gun. If they turn fire at you, if they lift the gun up, and then you have to, because you know what they're going to do. But just some weeks ago, a little youth man, 8 years in my community here, gets shot by the police just by sitting down in a corner at night time. Wasn't I not going on him? Because I investigate, because I do not defend wrongdoing.
And did you hear any parliamentarians condemn that shooting and call them murderers?
That the man stayed 2 weeks before he got the body because they was trying to say the body have COVID. And I went by a certain individual to cause chaos in my community because that was unjust. That little youth man who lost his life at 18 years old, just by a corner in night time, shoot them down with no guns in their hands. I know people sit down in jail there who charge for murder and the innocent. But Mohammed, now I'm saying to people, not let me be hasty and say, oh, did you just say that? And the government and all kind of thing. It's friends, I grew up up until I grew up in a fast spot. I know what's going on, I see what's going on. Just I cannot talk, come on the air and talk everything and see everything because I can be in deep trouble. But there's people who in jail, who I grew up with, who I know, they was framed. And just because the law, they have no money, they can't hire no senior counsel, they suffer in jail for 10 and 15 years. So I am saying that conversation is something that we cannot be ignorant to it. We have to sit down and digest it, listen to it, and take it in. Because many of our children I don't care what they say. Many of my brothers, not by blood, but in God's name, many of my brothers sit down inside there innocently. And I want to thank that they could investigate good and find out all who really innocent and let them go, and all who really do more. Because, but imagine this country, we don't have a fingerprint data. Only if you get charged in this country, only if you get charged, you been fingerprint. In America, after you're born, they take your foot, your eye, your nose, your hand. So in case you do something, you never do crime in your life. But if one day you decide to do crime, and you do I do crime with they have without gloves, them could find who is you. Them could find who is you. We don't have a data center. Only if you get charged in this country, then they fingerprint you. And I'm saying that is wrong. The General Hospital also have the data. And if that is so, why the police can't find? Okay, if somebody sell you a car, right? And the car on the person name, the insurance on the person name, you know the police can't find that person. They don't know how to reach that person. And the car and the insurance on the person name and the car from the person. We are already living in that country. That's what Trump said. But a moment, at the next point, I do not know if you see it international. It's a nasty act happened in New Jersey, where a African youth was fighting with a white boy, and the police run up to the black boy, pull him on the ground, put the foot on his back, two of them handcuff this black boy, and you know something? Them have the white boy sit down on the chair, and the white young girls and them were taping, saying it's because the black. Two young boys fighting, right? Two white officers coming in New Jersey. That happened about 3 days ago. 3 days ago that happened. And two white police come in, grab the black boy, push him on the ground, go on top of him, handcuff him, lift him up, take him out of the van, and they love the white boy. This is what we still living in. Oh, when I see that, I say, but where Joe Biden, who love African people, because if something small go on with Iraq, the White House will talk about it. If a incident take place in Bangladesh, the White House will talk about it. But something was so close to the White House.
Well, I don't know whether or not Joe Biden said anything about it. But what we don't know. We haven't heard him. But what I do know is when he made his statement saying that so the government of Russia has said they are not, they will not, they don't want to, and they have no intentions of invading Ukraine. But after they said that, President Joe Biden, as a sitting president of the United States, openly declares he does not believe them, and he believes that Russia is about to attack Ukraine. So that as president of the United States, when he says that now, automatically there's the mobilization of military forces ready to kill in large numbers. Now, all I know is that if Donald Trump had said that, man, they would have been down on Donald Trump's case.
Thank you very much.
But this is Joe Biden. This is the good one between the two of them, supposedly. And setting up the world like this.
But Mama, if people go and check the history of Joe Biden, like what I do, Joe Biden passed a bill, and Trump make me know it, Joe Biden passed a bill to lock up African people when he was a senator at that time in America. A drastic bill. What Trump overthrew when he came in power, he said that bill cannot be for African people. People believe that Joe Biden is an African lover, and because Obama are wrong. It is far from the truth.
All right. Well, thank you.
1 moment, seconds. And when you say that Russia is going to attack, that is a blatant lie. And I believe America is plotting to do the things and blame it on Russia.
Possibly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Cole, are you there?
Yes, I'm still there, Brother David.
My apologies. And thank you.
Well, I don't take so long, and we I come straight to the point one time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No. Remember, 2015, it's 7 years already, Brother David.
Yeah.
African, where they declared something about African.
Decade for people of African descent.
Well, listen to our Shania.
We have just, 2 years left?
Well, listen to our Shania. The people themselves, African Union, the people itself, killing one another. The wildlife, they're killing out the wildlife. And the mineral resources, they're just sharing it out. All the other nations, come and get it, man. Africa are free. I believe that's what they really tell the people. The few of us are sharing, you know. Because 6 African nations gone with the Frenchman now to have a deal with them. For the European Union and the African Union, them having some kind of deal. If you of us are sharing, 6 of them gone. One to the other, 49. It's 55 all year. If you of us are sharing, a collective body, or even the chairman of the African Union should have been in that meeting. If you understand, if us are sharing, Brother David.
Right.
But there's the division that the European Union put on the stranglehold, the full Nelson that they have on Africa, that we have to get rid of. I ain't seen that at all, Brother David. According, there's only 3 more years. And what I've seen, the visualization that I see, is that we kill not one another in Africa. Women, children, and the elderly, if vulnerable, the poachers and them just killing them like that because what they're fighting for, if you of us are showing you, religion, what are they fighting for? God Almighty, if you of us are showing you, Brother David, right? The poachers, as I share, Vietnam, South Korea, and China set up base in South Africa. They're mining the wildlife down there and they're taking the horns for themselves now, if you of us are showing you. Big the drought going on right now in certain parts of Africa. You mean to tell me we have the longest river and we have drought? Thank you very much, Brother David. You know, I don't stay so long. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Oh, yes. Good morning, caller.
Assalamu alaikum. You're still in Hakim Mohammed.
Walaikum salam.
I was hoping that I'd get in here since last year, trying to get in, I couldn't get in. Brother David, before I make my point, got some serious points to deal with this morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever, there are 15 states in America that have make it, that have removed laws that bar African people from their wearing their hairstyles against discrimination against African people. There are 15 states in America that have done that. England is going to do it also, where you cannot deny somebody employment because of the hairstyle. I don't know if you heard about that. But I would like to say to the African community, I would like to see 1 week either in Liberation Month, Emancipation, or the other month that we have. 1 week African hairstyle, African week hairstyle. All African, male and female, style over here. Because we are the only people that have hair that go up. Our hair is like the universe. It's wrong. Nothing with life does go down. Everything go up with life. Our hair. Imagine that. They're telling you can't wear your hair how you want to wear. We had that discrimination right in Trinidad and Tobago. A young fellow had it when he went to work with hairstyle, and a student in St. Charles. And I would like the stylists and them all say, any style, put your hair in it. Because all over the world you go, every statue you see the African hair hairstyle, the cornrow. Anyway, the points I want to get to this morning. We have worked in this country, our ancestors have worked in this country, in the world, for nothing. We're enslaved in the world for nothing. We build Europe. All who say they love America now, they must go into the history and see who built America. Separate races today. Europe, our ancestors have done this. Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, all over the world. You know what hurt me sometime there, what I saw? When I saw in Tobago, the Farley administration giving out land, title land, to the Hindu community in Tobago, the Commissioner of India praising them for giving them the title. And we have Africa, I'm not speaking for myself alone, I'm speaking for all Tobagoans and all Africans all over the world. You understand? I see they're giving out title. Our ancestors worked in Tobago. They didn't have no Indians in Tobago. Indians no started come, last come first being served. You understand? Because Mr. A.N.R. Robinson was there in the THA. He had do nothing to deal with the land titlement. With titlement, they're not squatters, you know. It's just the title. He did nothing. Church Charles come, he did nothing. They only talking. Mr. London came. He is the one that gave the land to them. And now Farley and them come now and give them titles. And Tobagonians born, the ancestors born there, they suffer there, they work hard there. They're still waiting for title for the land. Farley, you let me down. I look at you, you understand, as somebody with intelligence, a young, intelligent person, you understand? And only let me down, all the group let me down. You have to deal with your people first. In Trinidad here, the Indians are getting land all over. You hear they protest there? You know what happened? Rambaran say they have paper to get them for the land. He started giving land all over the place. We ain't getting nothing. And they are squatters. Land that they give them to do agriculture. They squat on it and give title. And our ancestors who have living on land that they can show the receipt where the ancestors have been paying the land tax all these years. They're still waiting in Tobago, you understand, to get title for the land. What are disgrace? This Prime Minister had said they got $7 million from some international company and organization to deal with that. Up to now, we hear nothing about it. I'm watching them carefully. I'm watching them, Brother David. It's not easy. Brother David, if you know how that's hurting me, you understand, to see you just come, a few only come there and only get entitled. And Africans who born and grow there, their ancestors, they can't get the document. They say they could go somewhere to an institution, a financial institution, you understand, to open business, to use the deed to open business, you understand? That is evil and wicked. Brother David, I watched something. A young black man get murdered in America by the police again. I need to know if you heard that.
Yes, Kingsley just spoke about it.
In his bed, sleeping and kill him. Another African in Brazil, in an upper class, who working for them, but he was speaking about the money we don't have paying him. They beat him to death with a bat. I think it was a big protest there in Brazil just the other day. They beat him with a baseball bat to death, you understand? African people. But what does hurt me? We're not together. We have a problem. We're not together. We don't stand up for one another. We in the wilderness, and we're not looking out for each other. We have to stand. We have to come together. When something hurts you, so we going to have a problem, come out and support that problem. Demand that they the right, you understand? They get the right sources. So what is theirs? They're not squatters. They don't go to a place and build no little shack and come back after and say that is the living here so many years. The ancestor. Well, I can show you receipt. I can show you a receipt, Brother David, for 24 cents per acre land in Tobago. 24 and 10% arrears, which is 26 cents if you're late in payment. That my ancestors, them, they work hard. They work for nothing. Many Tobagonians have done that. They work for nothing. They've all the cocoa, the coffee, the coconut where they plant 12 hours and 15 hours a day for slaving for the white slave master, and they get nothing. But I heard a piece of news the other day from the Dutch. And Brother Clark had spoken about, he said the Dutch was one of the most brutal in slavery. The Dutch. He said that, and they said, and the bank, the central bank in Netherlands has admitted that the wealth they accumulated and many businesses in a sense came out of the back of slavery. They said That's what they came out of their mouth. 600,000 slaves, you understand, were captured and looted by the Dutch. And after slavery was abolished, 60,000 remained. 540,000 Africans were murdered, slaughtered, you understand, by the Dutch. And the others were like in the Dutch-speaking Caribbean island. There you have the 60,000. So the money specific. We have to, when we get on the radio, you see, politics destroying us. Politics destroying our mind if you're not a thinker. You understand? We have to demand from us, this decade here is going. This government here, what have they done? They said nothing. Gypsy, they could never forget Gypsy. He said that they were going to do something for the decade of African people when he was in the US. He did nothing. He didn't get steel ban, nothing. Did nothing. And this government here, nobody is seen, and the time is running out. So they will say, all they had 10 years. 10 years of what? What we achieved? What we got? We had nothing to show that. But David, I was trying to get in, but it'd be so hard. And sometimes again, if I had the wealth, I would pay for a program, for about 2 hours program on this station with you. But I don't want no set of stupid, unnecessary politics coming and talking African people business, you understand? So, Brother David, there's so much to say, but so many talk going already. And I want to say to the African people, we have to come together, back up one another. Say, Brother David, I am an African, I always say that. I just search all the businesses. That we support the black business. Go find them out wherever they are. Look, I'm looking for a product that I got from Eco Clean. And I'm not seeing that particular product in the grocery. They have other things. And I am going to go up to over to the factory and buy what I'm looking for. That is how conscious I am. And if we want to build our community, that is the consciousness we have to do with us. Well, David, have a wonderful day. But it's hard. It'll be sickening to hear the set of politics. Politics from the morning to the night. Same thing over and over. Rowley and what's your name? And what people suffering. What people in a state, you understand? But as I go, I want to say this thing. The philosophy, it's like a philosophy, an ancient African philosophy that say, only listen to this, give your heart to learning and love her like a mother, for there's nothing so precious. That is why my heart went to learning. That is why I'm not perfect in it. That's why I learned our ancestors' language. I give my heart to learn. I'm African only. Have a wonderful day, my brother, to you and your family. And everybody, except from everybody, have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Good morning, caller.
Lord.
How you doing, brother?
Just, watching all the trials and tribulation.
Yes, sir.
Revolution is revolution. Wings right, you're sighting it all over the nation. So, stand firm, Jed, man. Stand firm. Face it as a man. Don't bend down and take it like a woman. Face it like a man. Rastafari, Jen? No? Because I just keep on hearing about African people this, African people that, Either we doing this or we doing that now, man. You see? Rastafari.
Thank you, brother. So we anxiously await the findings or results of the committee investigating the blackout this week. So we'll see what comes out of that. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Brother David. This is Soldier.
How are you doing, Soldier Hans?
Hi there, Brother David. There's a long time I'm trying to get you in for all the callers.
We did speak last
Brother
week.
David, I think by now we should know what's going on with black people in this world, Brother David. You see, we suffering from stolen legacy. And if we don't come to knowledge or come to terms with these ideas, we will be going wrong in circle and remain like a divided people. You see, stolen legacy will bring me back from religion. You see, they bring religion and they divide us with religion, right? And politics, right? But if we come to Stone Legacy, we will understand with history. We were great people. We used to direct and control our lives in unity, understanding, development, progress, and whatever, into the highest level as a people live and actually run our own affairs. But people running our affairs, so we in this civilization that we will be calling civilization here. You hear what I'm saying? But it's the highest level of captivity and deception from Lucifer himself. The agent, right, who dealing in the high order of the secret society, who running this earth, they does actually confirm with the devil himself. It have agents with actually summon the devil. So all this thing we're going on is what he commissioned them to do, to keep the earth in captivity, to keep mankind being oppressed, especially the original man, the man who compatible with the spiritual energy of God. You hear what I'm saying? Because there is the breakdown people of less meddling, and they're more compatible to the negative elements and of nature. So we can't expect anything better from them. You hear what I'm saying? Satan cursed Cain to kill, steal, and destroy, and them is the Canaanite. That is why they call it Caucasian. The Caucasian is the Canaanite. You hear what I'm saying? They is the cave people who come out of cave. We help them to come out of cave, to come and oppress us. You hear what I'm saying? By mixing with them too, you know. All of that too. By mixing with them, God will tell we about that. They tell Israel. When Israel was like Spanish, they wasn't so mixed. He tell them, if they continue, they will come just like unto the enemy. That is what's going on with Europe and England and France and all of them. They know there is descendants from that same, the people who migrated from ancient Egypt. But the brother David, they believe in lust. They believe in greed because they have they're dominated with this lustful ancestral blood in them. You know what I'm saying? So they're dominating us and we still can't see and know what they're really going on. That is the agenda to keep us in darkness from not knowing themselves. Man, know thyself. And if we know ourselves, we go continue living in darkness, continue going wrong in circles. We ain't gonna know what's really going on. That is, and the Prime Minister, see the rulers of our country, whoever ruling, that is why King David was God governed him to be the ruler. You hear what I'm saying? And they just always have a high priest to deal with the governor. You hear what I'm saying? The king always have a high priest to deal with him. Right. But if you're rejecting the utterance of the high priest, you hear what I'm saying? The whole world will go wrong, so the whole black community could never come out of the, I have to say, the captivity Satan.
Thank you so much, Brother Soldier Ants. But this is where I start to wind down for this morning. So, next week, Saturday, we host African Expo number 11 at the Kwame Ture Center from 10 in the morning straight through to 6 o'clock in the evening. If you're interested in having a stall or a booth or a table, you can message on WhatsApp 332-0214 and we will respond within the minimum space of time. And then, of course, the day after that, we host a showing of what is being referred to as possibly the final speech, the last speech from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's starting at 3 p.m. next week, Sunday, February 27th. It's going to be live on Gael TV across the entire Caribbean. Minister Farrakhan specifically wanted it on a Caribbean television station. And of course, no better station than Gael with that kind of coverage. And then, of course, powerful message expected. So, see you at the African Expo next week, Saturday, throughout the day, February 26th, African Expo number 11. Stay tuned to the Street 919 FM, and may Allah continue to bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919